Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Today we are taking a look at two different hex or nut drivers, nut setters, whatever you want to call them. So on my right, I have the double-sided 1/4 inch to 5/16 Malco nut driver. And then on my left, I have the Klein 1/4 inch to 5/16 inch double-sided removable nut driver as well. Price-wise, the Malco for the 6-inch, and I normally always use the 6-inch. They do have these in the 2-inch. I believe they have them in 4-inch or 3.5-inch. This right here is going to run you about $17 just for the bit itself, the double-ended nut driver, as well as, of course, the shaft. The Klein is going to run you about $30, but that's going to include the 1/4 inch, the 5/16, your shaft, which is it's a little shorter than the Malco. I would say it's probably 4 inches, 5 inches maybe. You have your two other bits that come with it, 11/32 and 3/8, and then you also have the 7/16 and the 1/2 inch, and you also get this really super nice handle that has literally hardly no play in it at all. This is a really nice handle that, I mean, you can use for more than just the bits that come with it. Of course, you can also use the Malco in this and it works just fine. But if you did want to get just the Klein set, the 6 sizes, the 3 nut drivers, you can get all of that for about $20 minus the handle. So between these two, I mean, really you're getting more for your money with the Klein than what you are with the Malco. But Malco products they're a specialty tool brand, and they certainly are a little bit more expensive, but they definitely make high quality tools. So of course with the hex drivers or nut setter, whatever you want to call them, I typically use these in an impact driver. I bought the Malco and I was expecting to use it in an impact driver. However, I went back and looked at the product specifications, and it never said specifically that this is impact rated. Now, it does have the 1/4 inch hex, which would obviously fit an impact driver. However, the Klein does. The Klein specifically states that it's impact rated, and all of the nut drivers themselves are impact rated, as well as the shaft. And again, of course, it comes with the handle. Even with that, it still says it's impact rated. One thing that you want to be cautious of when using magnetic nut drivers, the big selling point of these is that you can remove the driver portion and you can basically clean the magnet of the loose metal shavings that can sometimes get stuck to the magnet. And if you have a fixed nut driver like these, obviously you can't do that. What you would have to do in order to clean these out is maybe get like tweezers or something and, you know, pick out the metal or whatever. Another downside to using magnetic nut drivers is the magnets. They're so brittle, they break almost as soon as you use them. They start to break. And what can happen is big chunks of the magnet will kind of float around in here, stuck in there, that's, you know, not flat because it's just a broken off piece of magnet. As you can see, this is an XPS. You can tell the magnet is broke on this one and also broke on this one. This is the one that I use pretty much every day. Obviously that one's broke, and look at all the crud in there. And then of course these I don't use a ton. This is the 5/16. I use this certainly more than I use the 3/8, but as you can see, I've barely even used this one, and you can see the magnet is starting to crack and show signs of wear. So it doesn't really take long for that magnet to break. Now, looking at these two, I would imagine that the Malco would actually, the magnet on the Malco would be more durable, because if you look, it's not setting proud of the metal housing that's surrounding it. If you look at the Klein, it is. So with that magnet touching the fastener that you're driving, with those impacts, I feel like it's going to be pretty quick that that magnet is going to start breaking. With this one, it will break, I'm sure, but I feel like most of the magnet will still be, contained in its housing there. So I feel like the magnet will hold up better. But again, this one doesn't say it's impact rated, so who knows? We look at the nut setter itself. You can certainly see that there are a difference between the two. The Malco is certainly shorter, a lot shorter actually. And the Klein also has this extra ball bearing in it that's actually in the nut setter itself. And it has this little ball bearing that's trapped with that little bit of wire that's wrapped around it. So that may be a little bit of a concern. However, with this one being longer, there is a reason why it is longer. And the reason is because you can also use this as a bit holder. So when you want to use it as a nut driver, this is the position you'll have it in. When you want to convert it to a bit holder, you just slightly push up and you can stick your bit in there and wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. The whole entire driver portion of the bit does fit in there, and it holds in there pretty securely as well. The Malco, on the other hand, does not have that. That is not what Malco is selling with this particular nut driver. They're just selling the ability to be able to remove the head and clean off the metal shavings. All right, so taking a look at the fit of the fastener, we can see with the Klein, this particular fastener doesn't set all the way into the nut setter. It does stick out just a little, as you can see the rim of the fastener right here. Now let's look at the Malco. As you can see, it does fit a little better, but it still doesn't fit all the way in. I like for the fasteners to sit all the way in. Now, with the versatility of the Klein, if you want to use it in its bit holder format, then it certainly does, but you don't get that same magnetism on the fastener. All right, so we are going to drive some zip screws. I got the Makita XDT16 here. We are going to use the Malco first. First up, we're going to use 1/2 inch zip screws. Seem to work pretty good. These are 1 inch metal roofing screws, 1/4 inch. And then sink that one. Sink that all the way in. All right. Now let's do some 1.5 inch roofing screws. All right, next up we are using the Klein. First up, 1/2 inch zip screws. That's where that screw not setting all the way in kind of hurts you, because it makes it easier for it to kind of slip out if you're pushing too hard. There it goes again. You really got to be careful with the Klein. Yeah, so you definitely got to get the Klein started from where these particular fasteners don't set all the way into the nut driver. They have a tendency, especially the longer ones, to want to kind of, fall out of the nut driver itself. All right, so of course with these, let's take a look and see if there's any metal left over, or if there's any cracking of the magnet. Looks like there's some. All right, so it looks like there might be a little bit of, I don't know if that's metal or if that's cracking. So there was some metal shavings on the Klein. The magnet did hold up fairly well. However, we didn't drive a ton of fasteners, but it really doesn't take these magnets any time to start cracking and falling apart on you. And then here's the Malco. Definitely picked up some metal. Yep, definitely metal. So yeah, I mean, you can absolutely clean these, of course. I mean, that's the whole point of them. After using these two, I did notice a couple things here. So the first thing is that the bit on the Malco has a lot more wobble to it. I know Malco's website says that they work really well with their own zip screws, but I didn't have any issues with the zip screws that I have. They seem to set in deep enough to where I was able to really get a good purchase on the fastener and not have the fastener roll over on me. The Klein, on the other hand, it did have that problem. As you can see, the fastener doesn't set in very deep. These particular fasteners, at least. Now, not all of these hex head fasteners are the same. Some of them have a shorter head, some of them have a longer head. But these in particular, they don't set deep enough in the nut driver. And what'll happen is what happened was whenever I was pushing down on the longer ones, the screw was wanting to roll over on me. So I was having to be really careful about getting the screw started before, going full blast on it. The Malco, I didn't have that issue because obviously the fit on the fastener was a heck of a lot better. See, I'm pushing down on this and the screw is not rolling over at all. So that is one big thing I noticed. So in terms of driving these fasteners, definitely the Malco did much better purely because of the depth. It was able to seat more the head of the fastener into the nut driver than what the Klein was. However, in terms of versatility, being able to use this as also a bit driver, now that's a really, really good idea. So, I mean, in terms of which one I would rather use, that's a hard one because they are both really, really nice. If I was just going to use it for just driving hex head fasteners, I would probably go with the Malco as long as it held up in an impact driver because, again, it doesn't indicate that it is impact rated. The Klein does indicate that it's impact rated, and it also has this other feature where you can use it as a bit driver. So if I was consistently switching between maybe like Phillips or Torx and hex head fasteners, then maybe the Klein would be the way to go. Either way, both of these are pretty solid, and they'll definitely get some use from me. I'll probably go back and forth for a little while until I make a final decision on which one I like the most, and then I'll probably get a second one. I would really like to know what you guys think about these two, and if you have any experiences using the Klein or the Malco, or using both, and which one you prefer. Definitely let me know about that in the comments. But that's all I have for you guys today. I definitely want to thank you for stopping by. If you enjoyed the video, you enjoyed this content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And I will see you all next time. Peace.